So, what is Betel? Um, Betel began when Elliot Tepper and his wife came as missionaries to Madrid with WEC. They had been in Mexico, and soon a man named Lindsay, who's single, came and joined them here to start a church in Madrid. And things were just going very slowly, and God started showing them like maybe their ministry is going to be to drug addicts or other substance abusers. And then one day, Lindsay was building a relationship with a man named Raul, who he had met in the community, a heroin abuser and deep into other drugs, wasted life. And he brought Raul to live in his house to help him recover. Soon, Raul accepted Jesus as a savior. And Raul said, well, why don't each of us bring in someone else into our house and help them recover? Because Raul had many other friends that were in this life, and so they each brought in another person, and those men soon accepted Christ, and then they all went out and got someone else, and pretty soon, like, the neighbors in the apartment are getting upset that all these drug addicts are coming up, into their apartment, and they had to kind of be secretive about it to not make people angry. Eventually got a house with, I don't know, about 15 to 20 men living in it. Lindsay ended up getting married. And so who was going to step up and take his place? Well, naturally, just Raul did. So you had, in less than a year, a recovering drug addict, ex-drug addict, heading up a house in discipleship, leading a house of other men that were in the same process. And that's how Betel begun, and that's just what it is. There's not really a system. None of these people are trained in how to take care of substance abusers or anything. I mean, it's all about Jesus, and they all know that. Everyone will tell you that. It's open entry, open leave. You can come when you want. You can leave when you want. Many of the people come and they might leave within the first 2 weeks because it's pretty rough. But many people come back because they realize what their life is. You come in and you go off everything. You are with a responsible, is what they call them, for your first 15 days, and you are never on your own, even when you're asleep. Most drug addicts cannot fall asleep. Their body is just completely wasted and torn apart, very thin. They don't, because they can't eat and they don't sleep. So that responsible stays up with him the whole night, cleans up his vomit, cleans up anything else that might happen as a result. They, even like no one can go to the bathroom by themselves. They have to go everywhere. You cannot leave the premises. You're watched all the time. At the same time, you're loved. Everyone knows they're loved. It's very clear, even for visitors coming in. And then after your first 15 days, you're given more freedom. But even from the beginning, everyone's given so much responsibility. Some of the girls have been here for just a few months, and they're driving some of the vans. Well, at least with the girls, we go to many different places. There's about 5 different jobs, or 6 a day, that everyone is sent out to in the community. And again, most of the girls in the house, up till about 3 months ago, there were only 9 girls in the house. Now there's 20, almost 20, and a child is there too. And they all are completely involved and immersed, and it's just so cool. Everything runs so efficiently. Everything's so efficient. And they don't ask for money. That's another thing about WEC. They do not ask for money. They do not ask for support. It's completely faith-based. They can't ask people, but if people ask for them how they can help, they can tell them. But it's so completely faith-based. It's amazing. Internationally, there are about 40 Betel churches and centers around the world in about 15 to 20 countries, and they have 350 facilities. They just start their own businesses, and Elliot Tepper told us, we are capitalists for the furtherance of the kingdom. And I've learned so much from him about how much you can use business as a ministry, and that's what he's doing. Like that's their vision, and Betel is one. It's not all these independent structures everywhere. Everyone answers and fulfills everything together. Um, and in just 24 years, they have 40 church plants. That just blows my mind. That just blows my mind. It's so cool. It's so duplicatable, and it's just like what happens at the beginning. With after the very first houses and residents were started, and then they have the main building. One of the uh, the recovering drug addicts leaders said, God's working in my heart to go and take this somewhere else, and so they go, and then someone else does the same thing, and then they just start duplicating and multiplying everywhere, and that's just how they grow and they work, and they spreading the kingdom, because these people, this culture is looking for an answer, and they're looking for it in drugs, and they can't find it, and they need Jesus, and Jesus is the answer. Everyone knows that, and I love that. What also is very interesting about Betel is the fact that many people in their congregations are HIV positive. Actually, from the beginnings of Betel, most of the initial people are not alive today because they died of AIDS. And in 2000, when a man named Guy Chevreau, I think, wrote a book called "They Dance Because They Cannot Fly." I read that in about 2 days here, and I have to say, like, my life has been changed forever as a result of being here and seeing what is happening, and also reading that book about the past and the beginning of Betel, and like faith and God and the gospel, and to actually see visually such a awesome representation of just New Testament church and faith living, it's phenomenal. I've learned so much about looking at new things and changes through God's eyes and not through my eyes. And just because something's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And I'm seeing how you check things next to the gospel and not next to yourself and your expectations. So that's basically Betel, and there's a million other things I could say about it. Don't have time to, but I really highly encourage you to read the book "They Dance Because They Cannot Fly." It will change your life, and I can't wait to go to the one in UK, and I mean, visit other ones if possible. It's just really exciting, and I'm so thankful that God brought me here. In so many ways, I didn't know that all this would happen. Like just how so many things overlap with just things I've learned and passions of mine. And God's just showing me, like, you can't figure out everything beforehand of what's going to work best for you and what you like. But He does. So just follow His lead and trust Him as you take the next steps in life, because you'll never know beforehand. You just have to believe and wait and trust in Him, and love Him enough to be radical.